Lock him up. Put this article up here too.
I'm good. I mean,
All right. Let me see. Let me double check here. We live. Okay, we're live. Little audio check. You guys let me know if you can hear me clearly. How the audio sounds. Just late night kind of hopping in. Silvio's frozen on screen. Wait, you're in two. You got two of you in here. Let me bring the other one of you. All right. Yo, all right. Let me remove the other you, the duplicate, the alternate reality you, the other dimension you. Oh, there we go. All right. So audio's good. Okay. Amazing. I don't know what I wanted to start with first because I want to give people a little minute to join. No, I didn't get the Elgato Wave, Mark. Mark said, did you get the Elgato Wave? I did the research, not research. When I say research, I looked at the reviews of that thing. It's not gangster, and I have to have gangster products. I hear that like the quality of that thing is not good. I could be wrong, but like I think that's what I have here. Whatever, I don't even know what this is. SS2. I think is a better quality. I'm not sure, but if you have any information on it, please send it or email me. I'd appreciate that. I don't know where you guys want to start first. This is just late night informal. I haven't really been doing content. I fucking need to do videos, and I've just been, I don't know, figuring shit out in life. And thankfully, I can kind of afford to do that. But then I don't want the audience to suffer because I know people message me and they're like, "Where you at? Where's the content?" and stuff like that. But here, let me share the screen. Oh, that's weird. That's kind of dope. I didn't know you could do it like that. I kind of like it like that. So the Dylan rounds. I know this story is kind of going crazy. Maybe we can start with that. I'll read a little bit of the. See, I started. I'm afraid to open this thing up. Hold on 1 second. Let me take the screen off for a second. Hold on. I started, and when I say started, like barely started. That's a good thing because I have my tax notes on this thing here. I started taking notes on Dylan, but I haven't really had a chance to delve into it. I know there's a whole kind of mess going on right now, and James Terry's been kind of covering, or he was the private investigator for the family, and Dad had sent me this interview, and Flossie had told me that this thing is kind of like Naomi Boulevard, one of the stories that we covered, like the Mormon situation in Utah. And so, yeah. So you might like to hear this once we started, but let me read the little description here. It says here the FBI is now involved in the case of the Eastern Idaho man who disappeared from a remote farm near Utah/Nevada border nearly a month ago. Dylan Rounds. I have to mute you if it's. Let me mute you for a second. Dylan Rounds, 19, has been farming in the desert town of Lucin, Utah during summer months over the past few years. His grandmother last spoke to him on Saturday, 28th. Nobody has heard from him since. There's no sign of Rounds anywhere, no activity on his cell phone or bank account, according to his parents. Multiple searches have been conducted in the remote Utah town and nearby Montello, Nevada. The Box Elder County Sheriff's Office's lead law enforcement agency, but the FBI confirms they are now helping with the investigation. Justin last spoke with Dylan on Thursday, May 26, 2 days before he disappeared. Justin was driving to Las Vegas, and his son was talking about his tractor before the cell phone reception cut out. But nobody heard from the young man by Sunday, May 29th. Justin and Candace, Dylan's mom, went to his farm with other family members where nothing was out of place or suspicious. We figured Dylan put his grain truck in the shed, like he told his grandma on the last phone call, took off walking to his camper, and was out there with a broken leg. What? took off walking to his camper and was out there with a broken leg or was bit by a snake. What? Where they get that from? I don't know. So let's listen to it. Maybe
How they
people,
know all this stuff?
huh?
How they know everything like that in detail?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Ashley says Dylan Round's case is crazy. I seen your PI friend on every YouTube channel. Hated him at first, but I like him. I like him too. Apparently, I like crazy.
The guy from Tampa?
Yeah. People were always freaking out when he would come in. Man, you still tied with James Terry? Yeah, we're cool. I called him while I was in Cali, and we spoke. I feel like I might have him on once I actually do a video on this thing. Then maybe I'll bring him on. I know he's been on a lot of channels talking about the situation. So, but all right, let's watch this, man. I haven't seen this. Let's see what this is, and let me know if you can hear it, Sylvia.
And we
I'm watching on my computer, baby.
Coming here, I know you're probably exhausted.
Yeah.
And every sort of emotion has gone through your mind over the past few weeks. I'm Nate Eaton, and today I am talking with Candace Cooley and Justin Rounds. These are Dylan Rounds' parents, who, of course, this is a story we've been covering almost a month now, which is hard to believe. Candace was here a few weeks ago. We wanted to do an update on any potential new developments and really get the word out there that Dylan is still missing. That's the whole purpose, that, here's this 19-year-old kid whose birthday's coming up in August, and we need to find him. First of all, thank you both for coming here. I know you're probably exhausted, and every sort of emotion has gone through your mind over the past few weeks. Let's backtrack a little, though, and set up the situation for those people that are just tuning in or don't know what the story's about. Your son is Dylan Rounds. Tell me where he was when he disappeared, kind of set the stage.
Okay, so when we first heard about it, Justin and I, when we first knew something was wrong was Monday, May 30th. Justin and our other daughter, Brooklyn, were coming back from Vegas, and I was at home, and we got a call from Dylan's friend, JD, saying nobody had heard from Dylan. So I got that call. I immediately called Brooklyn and Justin and said, have you guys heard from Dylan? And it was no. So the last time he was heard from was Saturday, May 28th at approximately 6:51 in the morning. He talked to grandma. So we immediately knew something was wrong, and we all headed to Lucin at that time.
And Justin, would you talk to Dylan frequently?
Quite regularly, not every day, but I talked to him Thursday on our way to Vegas, and he was talking about his tractors and what he was going to do that weekend. And his service got bad, and then I didn't talk to him again.
So it was basically kind of like I'm with my dad every couple of days. I'll text or call on the phone. It's not a regular daily thing, but frequent. So, but it was abnormal, the fact that Monday came around and nobody had heard from him.
Correct.
So you had to.
So is this family Mormon? Because I've heard different things. I don't know. Yes, it's a Mormon state, but I'm no Mormon.
No, he don't look Mormon, bro. The dad.
Well, James Terry was saying something that there was something with his sexuality or something going on too. I don't know. They need to interview the parents, grandparents, as Dylan lived with them. Oh, was closer to his grandma. Bronze Barbie, what's up?
To Lucin, which Lucin is a very remote part of Utah by the Nevada-Utah border. What did you find when you got there?
So when we got there, it was like nothing was out of place. Nothing was suspicious. We figured Dylan put his grain truck in the shed like he told his grandma he was going to do, and took off walking to his camper and was out there with a broken leg or bit by a snake. It's a 5.5 mile stretch. So that's what we were thinking we were going to find, was a hospital trip and, a quick heart attack for everybody, but bring him home and doctor him up and good to go. So about 90 minutes into the search is when they found Dylan's boots behind the dirt mound, and they took Justin and I out there, and we both instantly knew. We just didn't know the extent of what it was going to turn into, because we were following law enforcement and search and rescue leads, like their way of doing things. If they weren't panicked, if they weren't making a big deal out of it, why should we? We don't know. We've never been in this situation. So we find the boots.
And how far were the boots from his camp trailer?
About 300 yards.
300 yards.
Well, not from the camp trailer, from his grain truck.
Oh, from the grain truck, yes.
Okay.
So boots are found how far from the truck?
30 miles, she said, I think.
So we find the boots.
And how far were the boots from his camp trailer?
About 300 yards.
300
Yards. Big difference. Yeah.
Well, not from the camp trailer, from his grain truck.
Oh, from the grain truck, yes.
Okay.
300 yards
Trailer.
is
It's close, man. It's not that far. 300 yards.
three,
It's
like three football fields.
no. Oh, maybe. What is it?
Yeah, football field, 100 yards.
Oh, okay. Somebody, Terry says this case just had about everything you could imagine: drugs, sex, religion, everything you want in a story.
Pickup truck, the red pickup, and then you've got the grain truck.
Correct.
And then 300 yards from the grain truck behind a pile of dirt is the boots.
Correct.
And there's blood on the boots.
Well, so they have now confirmed that. We both seen the dark spot.
You saw a spot.
We weren't sure if it was hydraulic oil,
yeah,
grease,
that's-
or
Like I said, we were following law enforcement's lead. If they're not panicked, we're not going to panic.
Shit, I'm gonna panic. I don't give a fuck if law enforcement's not panicking. My kid's missing. I'm panicking.
So,
What?
yeah, but they haven't confirmed it's human.
Okay, but there was,
Yeah.
and how much blood are we talking?
Like if you had a bloody nose and a drop
Okay.
drip.
So they weren't soaked in blood.
No.
There's a little bit of blood on there. You find his boots, and Justin, when they find his boots, what goes through your mind at that point?
I just this is real. And then they tried talking to us. Well, maybe he bought some new boots and threw them out. And these boots right here are the exact same kind of boots they were, and these are a lot worse shape than those. So I knew something was not right.
So they were newer boots.
Well, yeah, a year old or so.
Okay, so they find the boots, and then the truck is parked there.
The grain truck.
Is Dylan gonna go on a walk without a? How is he gonna get anywhere without?
Well,
the
not
truck?
only that, but the boots were found in the opposite direction of if he would have been walking to his camper.
Yeah,
Were the boots near potential crops?
No.
I mean, seed. I
No.
mean,
they were by an old junk hole where they'd burn
Yeah.
trash and stuff, kind of.
Oh
Okay.
shit.
so you're worried. You're saying this is real. Something's not right here. And then what?
So that search and rescue left that night. They were out until after dark. So we all went to the camper, to where Dylan's camper and pickup was, and you know, we're looking through his camper. We're looking for anything, you know. Can't get in the pickup, can't find the keys. So Justin broke the back window out of it and
To try to find
to try to find
gun.
anything.
anything but the guns.
And Box Elder, we did have a deputy out with us at that time and asked him about breaking out the back window. And it was basically, yeah, it's your pickup. You can do whatever you want to it. And then nothing in the pickup, nothing in the camper, nothing. I mean, like I said, it was like everything was left perfect and Dylan was just gone.
No phone, no wallet.
Correct.
But he did make a.
So all that stuff is still missing? Phone, wallet, all that stuff. Sadie says, according to Jim Terry, he likes to say Google. What? Not a very good dude. Very scary.
call from that phone to grandma on the Saturday morning.
Correct.
And was anything unusual about the call?
Just that it was raining and he had to get his grain truck in, so he protected his seed.
Ping, from what I understand, that call came from the farm,
From the area, yeah.
from the area.
Yep.
Do we know where he went after the call?
That's where it goes blank.
But we do know the day before he was in Nevada.
We know for sure on the 26th, on Thursday the 26th, he was in Nevada. The 27th,
We know for sure because of hearsay.
yeah, exactly. We know for sure because of credit card transactions. But on Friday, it's some say yes, some say no. The stories have changed. We do know with what they're doing now, they'll dig more into Dylan's phone, and they're doing that. So whether or not they've confirmed if he was there, but we do know the phone call to grandma came from the farm area. So we know he was in that area.
So regardless of where he was Friday, he did make it back to the farm, or was
Correct.
still on the farm Saturday.
Yes.
And was okay based on the
Yes.
call. Seemed okay.
Yes.
Since we last talked, the Box Elder Sheriffs has said this is now a criminal investigation.
Correct.
What does that mean to you all?
It's terrible. It's terrifying, but it's also got us the help we need.
Yeah. Finally, we got the FBI's got involved. It feels like something's going to happen now. With Box Elder, it didn't feel like anything was happening. I don't know what they were doing, but yeah, it's
because it was considered a missing person,
Right.
which is a different status.
Right.
which that's why
And-
we discussed about getting into the media
Yeah.
and
It's to get
letting
help.
people know who Dylan was, you know, because that's why we got into the media, and to get the FBI involved and to let people know who he was, and that he wasn't the kid that just took off for a week to do dumb stuff.
I've told people in recent interviews that it would almost be comforting if we had that thought, like, hey, Dylan's mad at us, or Dylan doesn't want to farm anymore, or Dylan had a breakdown and we're going to find him, but we don't even have that.
And this kid, based on talking with you guys, going through Facebook, seeing his photos, it seems
Makes me think a little bit of Daniel Robinson kind of. I mean, I know different story, different location, but he just disappeared too in the desert, nowhere to be found. So this is like the border too, I guess, because Utah, Nevada, and Idaho. I don't know exactly where. I'd have to, when I sit down and actually research this, I have to see exactly where at the border, I guess. Hey, Ann says there's a later interview that was found that has found that the mother has not been very kind to him. To who? To actually rumors about him being in the life. That means being gay, being a gay man. By the way, that's the more respectful. I know James Terry was talking about it. He seemed really confident about what he was saying. I guess people have been calling him. Way of speaking of people in the life anyway. Found to total disrespect and disregard his choice, and she was very nasty, mean, horrible to him. Oh wow, allegedly. I haven't heard about that, but I mean, it kind of reminds me of Noemi a little bit because I know her family wasn't really accepting. I don't know that this is with this at all. I'm just me peering in right now for the first time.
seems like his passion was that
It
farm.
was.
Farming, being outside.
Oh, Lucin. Lucin is where the farm is. Okay.
And as you mentioned last time, Candace, he wasn't into video games. I mean, he wasn't into partying.
Let's see.
He wasn't into any of that stuff. So what's happened since we last talked? We spoke, you guys were going to do a big search out there the weekend or two ago. No hints, no clues?
No, we had Elko came out and helped us organize that search, did the grid search. They
Oh.
assigned everybody areas. There was a few suspicious things they went and looked at that didn't turn up into anything. And then it was that Sunday that I was told the FBI had reached out, and that was all the information I'd gotten was the FBI's reached out. And then by Wednesday, I think it was that Wednesday, we were in touch with an agent, and things finally started happening. So the 15th is when Box Elder came out. It was criminal, and that was after the FBI got involved. But they'd lost 17 days at that point with the same evidence they had 3 days into it. So, you know, they did take Dylan's campers.
Finally,
Finally,
when the FBI came,
when the
the day
FBI
the
came
FBI arrived, they took the campers.
What about his trucks?
And I reached out to Bonneville County, and they reached into ISP, and they have the truck,
The pickup.
The pickup.
the pickup, and then the tractor he was driving. I don't know if I reached out to ISP and stuff to go check the ECM on that to just get an idea of when that tractor was running. I haven't heard anything about that yet. It's in Rupert.
That might give you a clue there.
Give an idea of when the tractor was actually running.
You think about something like this, and I'm sure it's gone through your mind. Was it an accident? Was there some sort of accident? There's also the possibility of suicide.
What?
And I mean, it's out there. You look at all the options. There could be that, and then there's criminal, homicide, or something nefarious. So, have all those situations gone through your mind?
Everything
Except
suicide.
the suicide
The
has
suicide just
Julio.
not. Kidnapping.
Julio.
He's in a building somewhere. I keep getting texts and calls. He's in a building in Montana. I mean, in Montello, and
Which
but
is what you're hoping.
suicide
Right.
had never crossed my
No.
mind. Not one time.
Never any sign of mental illness. Never.
No.
No.
So that leaves the accident or the criminal, which now that they're saying it's criminal, I mean, what do you think happened?
Somebody did something. I mean, and
We kind of gotta keep some of what we think to ourselves. We gotta
Why?
keep some of this because we know a little bit more about some of the stuff than we can't release everything.
Tell us.
My main goal is to just find out who did what and make sure they get what they got coming to them with the law, or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, the main goal is to find Dylan. Don't get me wrong. That's the first and only priority. And when somebody tells me he's in the shed or something, that I wish that it was true, but I don't know if that's.
well, we haven't received any ransom or any.
Or no ransom. People wanting to help, and
Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense that somebody's just holding them to hold them. But
that was a theory too. I heard like he's alive somewhere or something like that. But Lou said no phone, no wallet is a good sign. Meaning he took them just like he always would do. But boots left out there, it's not a good thing.
I'm with Justin. I mean, I wish that was the case and we'd find him somewhere. And once again, trip to the hospital, some counseling and whatever, and bring him home.
Well, the fact his wallet's gone and his bank account's been touched.
Mm-mm.
So that if someone did have his wallet, they could go use his cards or whatever. Let's clear up some rumors. You hate to do this because the last thing parents in this situation need is for people to speculate on them,
Right.
But why hate to clear the rumors?
call people names, and do things like that. There is no GoFundMe.
Correct. Absolutely none.
So you're not raising money.
No.
You're not anything like that.
Mm-mm.
Dylan may have been in a horrible relationship with a man or a woman.
Yeah, not true.
Not true.
No basis, no
Oh.
evidence. Just
So hold on, me.
What the fuck?
You're
So
not,
no GoFundMe. I've seen the GoFundMe thing happen a lot. The fake GoFundMe is not a surprise. Been there, done that. Not our first rodeo. Right?
anything like that.
mm-mm.
Dylan may have been in a horrible relationship with a man or a woman.
So why say a man or a woman? Are they just trying to clear out all the options, or is it that
What did the mom say? Yep.
she said no? Let me play it again. That part.
Right there, dude, that part.
But why ask for both?
Dylan may have been in a horrible relationship with a man or a woman.
Yeah, not true.
Not true.
No basis, no evidence. Just speculations and rumors once again.
What are the other things you want to clear up?
That we're working with law enforcement and law enforcement only. Whatever else is put out there, if it is not Justin or myself that is speaking,
Oh Jesus!
they are not on behalf of us, and they're not gathering. They can show clips of interviews, but it's not with us. So we're really trying to stay focused on the good media. The media is going to report Dylan's story truthfully and keep it out there so that we can find him. So all the other stuff's just hearsay. He also only has one Facebook page, and that's the Find Dylan Rounds, the Missing in America one. There's 6 or 7 of them now, and they're all just speculation and robbing off of other stuff. So we're trying to really keep our bases covered and the truth and the facts, and only the facts out there, because that's the only way we're going to find him and bring him home.
What can you say about the 2 men that were working with him on the farm?
So, we all know it's been out there that Dylan and Don parted ways, but that's what it was. We weren't there. We don't know. I know the story Dylan told me about. It was about hooking up his washing machine, but it's not like it was a knockdown, drag out, bitter part. Yeah. So, and once again, that's something that law enforcement has to decide, because we're not investigators and we're not the ones that can,
So he was working on the farm with what, 2 other people?
look into backgrounds and past other things to say, hey, we need to look at this. So, they've been mentioned, names have been thrown out. Names have been thrown out by a lot of people who shouldn't have been throwing out names. So we are just clearing and clarifying, and we have no fact to point a finger at either one of those two. We have no facts, and that's, like I said, that's what we have to stick with.
Do you know how far before Dylan vanished that they had this, that he was
It
separated?
was like 6 weeks, 7 weeks.
So it was some time.
Yeah.
And as far as the other farm worker, were they on good terms?
So he just helped him off and on. It wasn't
like he was there full time.
Yeah.
No, he was just kind of when they needed
When they
help.
need, yeah. So it's turned into like it was this huge farm that Dylan needed all this help running, and that wasn't the case. Dylan could do most all the work on his own. He needed some help mechanicking and like putting together main line. That's more than a one-person job. But other than that, it's one pivot. Dylan could handle it.
So he was doing it most of the time. He was there by himself.
Correct.
Yeah.
And what about people that he may have had interactions with in Nevada or there in Lucin?
So in Lucin, there isn't anybody.
There's nobody.
No. It's like,
Those two
no
people.
bar,
No,
Yeah,
no,
there's
there's no
no-
buildings. Nothing.
yeah.
So Shani here says the grandfather passed the farm to him, and Dylan was now the boss of Dylan's grandpa's business partner, was still working, and Dylan was now his boss. So he's the new boss now. He was the one who called with him missing.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like the Osgood area,
Okay, yes.
only no gas station. There's nothing out there.
Nothing.
And then as far as Montello, I mean, you're talking an itty bitty town. You're going to go into town for lunch and you're going to socialize with whoever's in that bar or restaurant because it's your only option.
They're the gas station.
Yeah, they're at the gas station. Doesn't matter who's there. You're going to talk to them because there's nowhere else to go. So, it's hard to pinpoint and say, what else could he have known in Montello? Well, whoever went in and ate lunch, and on the day he was in there eating
A guy
lunch.
in Montello was helping him dig his main line last fall, and his backhoe was out there, and he helped him fill it in and a few things. So, I mean, there was a guy in Montello that was doing some stuff with Dylan as well. But I'd never heard anything ill. I mean, I had a little run-in with one of the guys that worked for Dylan 2 years ago, and I was looking through my texts, and Dylan defended him pretty good and was pretty upset with me. But so, I mean, I don't know what that's worth, but
So he never called you guys and said, "Oh, this guy's giving me problems." Or
Mm-mm.
he never explained about any run-ins with anybody out there.
No.
I've never heard anything.
Nothing.
Why do you think anyone would target or go after your son?
I don't know. That's what makes it so bizarre. There was never any, he loved it out there. He was, we talk about all the people that are out there and all the people that want to get away from society and the government and all that. In Dylan's own little way, he was one of those people because he wanted to get away from where houses could be built on the farm ground, and he would be basically driven out of the occupation he wanted for his lifelong dream. So he was one of those people in a different sense. He wasn't antisocial or anti-government, but he needed to be out where he wasn't going to have people move in on him. And that's why he loved it so much, because he knew he never had to worry about that.
Yeah, he had a huge vision of that
Yeah,
area.
he's going to develop the whole valley.
What do you want people to know?
Just to stick with the facts, stick with the good media, keep up on it. If you hear something, call in. But we don't want this blown up to this crazy, insane theories. We need to stick with the facts and find Dylan.
Somebody out there knows. the truth.
Exactly.
And what would you say to them?
Just keep forward. I mean, we got to have something. We need a direction. We need even if you don't think it's important and it's the smallest little piece of something that's factual, we don't need to hear the, millionth time, is he in the grain truck? Or check the silos. There are no silos. Somebody out there is, and they're seeing the media, and they're seeing this and they're holding it in. Like, this is our son. Come, tell us.
I've had a lot of people text me. Just last night I was texting some people and they're trying to help, and I think they are, but a lot of them out there don't want to talk to the police, and I don't know what to follow and back and forth. And I mean, I've been everywhere out there in places I would never want to go again. And I wish they would reach out to the law enforcement if they really thought they had something. I don't mind them reaching out to me, but I can only be so many places at so often, you know.
Bree says Montello is shady, meth money in a small town.
And you don't want to use all of your time to chase down all these rabbit holes.
We have been a lot, and I will, but I'd like some help with the law enforcement to look into when they hear some things. It seems like they just think it's nothing.
That has been a problem. We have had some stuff that actually needed to be looked into that they've called into Box Elder and they don't get a response from them.
We got
multiple times.
Something that we know that we don't want to share has been called into Box Elder and they never responded to the people, and they finally reached out to me.
The people did.
Yeah.
Had some information.
Yeah,
and
what's wrong with the police
so
over there?
that has been an issue.
Are you planning any more searches?
As soon as we have somewhere to send the volunteers, we've got to have a direction. We can't
Have people go out.
Yeah.
and roam, you know?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it was the first weekend. We
It was
didn't know what to do. We just decided to ask people if they were going to go out for the weekend, come here and go out for the weekend and drive around and let's just look.
Yeah, it was terrible.
We had no idea what to do or where to go. We've never done this before.
Yeah, and we didn't have help from law enforcement. I mean, it's like we said, we are not exaggerating when we say they left us in the desert.
Ooh.
The literal desert.
The literal desert. Yeah. So, like I said, we are getting the help we need now. It's been the media that's got us there. I think it would have been swept under the rug as a simple another 19-year-old that walked away had we not pushed.
The media, you guys have helped to get the FBI involved, I do believe, and I appreciate that.
Well, there's definitely an interest in your story, in your son. I mean,
Some of the interesting thing too, his mother said that the key fob to his pickup was also missing and the truck was locked. Dylan never locks anything, she says, and his pistol's gone. As hard as it is, as much as I hate to say it, I'm about 99% sure somebody murdered my son. Ooh.
there is an interest. People want to know where he is and if he's okay. And here we are nearly a month later. Can you believe it's been a month?
I know.
It probably feels like 10 years to you in a way, but one day to you? I mean, what has it been like?
Like I said, in waves, some days it feels like a year, some days it
Yeah.
feels like just yesterday we started.
Yeah, it's all a blur.
Anything else you want people to know?
No, we'll keep updating and keep moving forward, and hopefully we get some more drones out this weekend, it sounds like. So that'll be good.
You've had drones, you've had dogs, ATVs,
Helicopters,
horses.
Nothing. Not anything.
And that's one other thing we're waiting on right now for EquiSearch is the invitation
Debbie.
for the new pilots. I did get word of that right before I got here. That's what EquiSearch is waiting on, is for Box Elder to say yes for every pilot, because EquiSearch is very particular on how they do everything, and these drone pilots are too. Like, they need a yes from law enforcement.
They need a law enforcement around
with them
so that the evidence can be used.
Yeah.
They find something.
Mm-hmm. So we just, kind of feel like we're running on Box Elder's timeline instead of them running on Dylan's. Like, let's get these guys out here. They're lined up. They're ready to go. Let's go. Yeah. So.
Well, we'll put up a picture of Dylan. This is Dylan Rounds. And if you know anything, call police. Somebody knows something. Follow the one official Facebook page. We'll link to that down in the story below. That's where you can get the most accurate information. Everywhere else, you'll want to verify. Yeah. Because there is some crazy stuff out there. I hope next time we talk, we have some news to report that's
positive,
brings some closure in a way, regardless of what it is. Justin, thank you very much, and Candace, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We're thinking about your family, praying for you, and gosh, hope this comes to an end soon.
Okay, that's it for the interview. Pretty weird. I don't know. Gonna have to look into it. Any thoughts, Sylvia? Or...
That don't sound like no Naomi case.
No.
Because she didn't. There was no shoe found by her, no blood, no nothing.
Yeah, it's
And
true.
you know,
It's true.
and they don't have no actual evidence him getting off on the bus stop. Why did they say Mormon?
I don't know. I don't even know if his family's Mormon or not. I thought somebody had something about Mormon talk, but I don't know if it's just because of Utah or if his family was actually. I had no idea. I kept hearing Mormon talk with related to this story.
No, I don't know. Can't really say that unless we have facts. I don't know. They don't seem like they, you know. I don't know. I can't really judge nobody like that, man. I just don't think they just worry about their son, you know.
I don't know, man. They've done, I think, multiple interviews though. This is just the first one that I've seen, but
Yeah, it's a sad situation. Bro.
mm.
How is he?
Jim Terry was saying he was part of a vigilante squad or so. Yeah, that's what Jim was saying.
Hey man, how old is he? The kid that went missing.
19.
19. Damn.
Yes, Mormon, but Jack Mormons. What the hell is Jack Mormons?
There's some shit like
Out of
that,
these
man.
streets.
You gotta know that you're surrounded, man. I don't know, man. Shit, that's crazy.
Somebody said the Mormons.
Okay.
LDS. Yeah, LDS.
So why? I don't know. So what? Just because if there was a like, is there any facts that he was gay?
I don't know how James got that. I don't know because I've heard that the community has been calling him. He's been getting calls from people, so he told me that that's what it was, but I don't know how he confirmed that.
It was he probably like I don't know, hated like a hate crime or some shit. But his body's missing. Everything's missing.
This interview was from 7 days ago. I don't know.
What you got next?
There's a guy from the bottom of a farm. They hired a PI. Yeah, but now they're not working with the PI anymore. James Terry. Shit. There was this. Do you want to do like the weird hotel shit that I was telling you about, or you want to do?
Yeah, for
One's pretty short. You want to leave it for last? The hotel one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I guess so R. Kelly. Some people say they don't care what he did with kids because he made good music, so they support whatever regardless.
No, you have to.
You have
to. You're not gonna care.
So some people are ride or die.
He just don't want to express himself, I guess.
Some people are ride or die for R. Kelly, man.
He made good music, but still, like control yourself.
So I don't know. Yeah, he was sentenced to 30 years in federal prison following his conviction for 9 federal charges, including sex crimes and human trafficking. The disgraced singer was in federal courthouse Wednesday in Brooklyn when the judge Ann M. Donnelly announced his sentence, bringing a close to one of the U.S. Attorney's Office's highest profile criminal prosecutions in years. Did you ever watch Surviving R. Kelly?
Who?
Surviving R. Kelly, that documentary.
No, who's that? Oh, Surviving R. Kelly. Yeah, I watched a little bit of it.
Yeah, I think I watched like one season of it. Let me play this real quick.
That's the sentence for singer R. Kelly.
I believe I can fly.
55-year-old fallen star learned his fate after being convicted of racketeering and sex trafficking. R. Kelly was dressed in dark glasses and a khaki shirt. When asked by the judge if he wanted to make a statement, he declined. When sentencing Kelly, the judge said the public has to be protected from behaviors like this. The victims spoke about the sentence.
I never thought that I would be here to see him be held accountable. I stand here
My
very
mic is low.
proud of my judicial system, very proud of my fellow survivors, and very pleased with the outcome. 30 years did he do this, and 30 years is what he got.
Katie, does this send a message?
Yes, it
Let me know how my mic sounds now. I don't know if it's too loud, but I changed the settings.
Nah, you sound good, bro.
Sound good?
does. It sends a message to other survivors that, you know, this is a day and time that we're being heard and believed.
The prosecution team says he avoided punishment for decades until today.
R. Kelly is a predator.
Oh,
And as a result of our prosecution, he'll serve a long jail sentence for his crimes.
His attorney described
so is he possibly gonna die in jail? He was sentenced to 30 years, but he probably won't do 30 years, right? He's 55 years old.
They say he does 25. How old is he now?
55, it says. Awesome. I'm glad.
I think
What were you talking? Remember we were talking on the
I think
phone
he's gonna die
earlier?
in jail.
Remember we were talking about earlier on the phone that he was just like just a little, I don't know, like a drop in the bucket compared to the elite or something like that, or he was used for something. Remember?
Oh yeah, he's like a little pawn, I guess.
Yeah. He's like small fish compared to the big sharks out there. He didn't comply with the Illuminati.
Well, I don't know if he fuck with that shit, but all I know is that motherfucker was up to no good for years.
But after hearing sentencing,
Obviously, he's devastated. 30 years in prison is like a life sentence for him.
attorney Gloria Allred represents several of the victims.
While he is in custody, he will not be able to continue to sexually victimize any other underage girls.
We're his sisters.
And he had him like in a basement, didn't he? Was it in Chicago? He had like a whole basement, like a whole
So he basically that's like rape.
dungeon. Yeah, like a dungeon and shit. But the controversial thing with that I think I kind of remember, I don't remember all the details. What I thought was jacked up when I saw that documentary was one, some of those parents were just goddamn badass parents, like shitty ass parents. I just have to say, these people were just like selling their kids to R. Kelly for the dream and shit. Some of those parents that I saw, I was like, hell no, this is some shitty ass, like they just sold their kid and they'd call once in a while to check on the child. And then once they were there, he kind of like, I don't know, he drew them.
Everything goes, I guess, for him.
And someone that thought he was going to give him like a career and shit. I was like, damn. I don't know.
Also on hand, Kelly's three sisters showing their support. If
We
Kelly
support
serves out
you.
his entire sentence,
love you.
he won't be free until he's 85 years old.
And today's sentencing is not the end of Kelly's legal woes. He faces a federal trial on child pornography charges in Chicago, as well as state sex offense charges in Illinois.
I think
and
he'll die though when he go to jail. Like
He might die in jail, man.
yeah, like old
Morty,
age. Old age.
I was happier than what I heard his lawyer was trying to propose. I think that the situation is that he's destroyed so many lives for so long that I think 25 is too low, to be quite honest with you. I mean, we deal with
enough time.
residual side effects. Like, we have to live with this forever. You know, it's not something that just goes away. Lock him up and throw the key away, or put him under the jail forever.
So is that life?
I would say life. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to stop doing what he does. Like, he has to be away. I mean, he was charged. He went to trial back, like you were talking about, 2008. And, you know, you would think someone, you know, normal, but he's not normal. So you would think that someone in their right mind would say, oh my God, I better change my ways. You know, I need help. So I don't think you can let this person out, because he's proven over and over again that he'll continue preying upon women and men. I mean, just anyone who's vulnerable and anyone that he, you know, wants to prey upon, he'll do it. And he did use his star power. You know, this has to be a lesson to everyone in the world. You know, you can't just continue doing what you're doing because you're powerful. Like, enough is enough. And, you know, I just think that he needs to really sit with himself for the rest of his life and really think about what he did.
Chill. I don't know if Silva's coming back. I think I lost him. He texted me back, said something. The internet cut out. I was waiting for it to come back. So we'll see if he comes back. I don't know. I'm just clicking random comments. Some are completely unrelated. I don't know. So good for those people and the victims. Dude got sentenced to 30 years in federal prison. That would have been an interesting trial to like watch live. Let's see what we got next. I want to save this sex hotel thing for if Silvio makes it back. So let me just play this one in the meantime. And Silvio had sent me this one. This one, man finds $7,500 after committing animal sacrifices in Rickenbacker Causeway. I don't know where the hell that is, and that's Florida. Hialeah man has been fined after he dumped dead chickens. I don't know. Let's see.
On Local 10 News of a disturbing discovery on Virginia Key. A man slapped with a hefty fine after an apparent animal sacrifice. Local 10's Terrell Forney is live with the exclusive. Terrell.
And people in several areas across Miami-Dade are used to seeing chickens roaming the area freely. Well, some chickens...
Look, there's a chicken right there.
Chickens roaming the area freely.
He was running behind the car.
Well, some chickens ended up dead along the Rickenbacker Causeway, and that investigation led detectives back to this Hialeah neighborhood after some people complained that it was all under mysterious circumstances.
That's weird.
There's more birds in there.
A group of curious beachgoers are
Brujeria.
crying foul after stumbling upon boxes of what they believe to be
Santeria.
animal carcasses.
I'm really nervous what's in here.
Miami-Dade police investigated their claims depicted on this cell phone video earlier this week.
I mean,
and they found birds.
So they find him, but can't he just claim this is religious purposes and shit? And that you have to respect his religion and culture or whatever the fuck, right? Could he fight this? Maybe he gets a good lawyer.
Had been killed along the Rickenbacker Causeway, and the remains left behind.
Why did
out
that
in
chicken
the
cross the
open,
road?
An unsightly, unsanitary, and smelly scene. We've learned Danny Machado, who lives miles away in this Hialeah apartment building, is being blamed for the incident.
Uh-oh.
Machado wasn't home when we stopped by,
Almost sounds Dominican.
but his grandparents were, stressing to us that the charges were not for killing the animals.
No.
Oh, we'll take a look at Ghislaine too. Ghislaine, whatever her name is. Because I heard Ghislaine, didn't she say, somebody's going to crack on me for the way I'm pronouncing it. Didn't she say something to the jurors or something like that on the way when she got sentenced? Like, I hope you enjoy this or some shit like that. We have to check that out.
What?
Ghislaine.
No food. It's okay.
Not having proper food and water. To us that the charges were not for killing the animals.
No water, no food. It's okay.
Not having proper food and water, they say. And they're right. Machado was hit with 9 citations of animal cruelty for improper confinement of chickens without food and water. Machado told cops he was sacrificing the animals, exercising his religious freedom. So the hands of detectives
I tell you, hey, it's America. They're going to go to court, maybe fight this.
were tied.
There's a bunch of other boxes that aren't moving.
But thanks to this video and that group of witnesses, police were able to prove their case that dumping carcasses and live chickens in public parks is illegal.
Oh, so that's how they get him.
So no word on where he got those chickens, but Machado, who is 37 years old, was not arrested, but he was hit with fines that total about $7,500. In the meantime, we know that this is the latest in a string of incidents and people, at least the Miami-Dade Police Department's illegal dumping unit, holding people accountable for various.
So that happens all the time out there. I try to avoid Miami.
Acts, a string of cases that they say that they will continue to do and hold people accountable in the days and months to come. We are live in Hialeah tonight. I'm Terrell.
Hialeah. By the way, if you guys have heard of this, I heard about this the other day. I've just been kind of glancing at stories, but I've been somewhat mostly disconnected. But yeah, there was this truck. I think they're saying now like 51 people dead. That's what this says here. And they're also saying that the suspected driver packed with suffocating migrants, pretended to be a survivor, may have been on drugs. So he's just like, shit, let me squeeze in with these people. Yeah, I'm a survivor too. Let's check this out.
In Antonio, more than 51 people are now dead after being found in the back of an 18-wheeler this week. Temperatures topped 100 degrees. This is the deadliest case of human smuggling in U.S. history. And now we're learning more about the tragedy.
Yeah, Cleo Green is with us this morning. Cleo, so many of those victims really just hoping for a better life. And again, hard to wrap your head around just how bad this tragedy is.
Yeah, Mark, Karen, the death toll has climbed, as you mentioned there. There was a vigil held last night in West San Antonio for the 51 lives lost. These were migrants from Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala. Here's the latest in this investigation this morning. Officials say at least 62 migrants were stuffed into that back of the tractor trailer with temperatures topping over 100 degrees, and it was just left there. That 18-wheeler was found on a route often exploited by smugglers at a time when record numbers of migrants are being intercepted at the U.S.-Mexico border. Some of the survivors are still in critical condition this morning, suffering from heat stroke and exhaustion. The patients were very hot to touch. For Jessica Azua here, this tragedy, it hits close to home.
I'm so fed up. I'm so tired. I came here when I was 14 years old in an 18-wheeler as well, and I passed out from the heat. I was lucky that I woke up.
With the rising temperatures of South Texas, this is a guaranteed death sentence. It's not worth it. Do not place your life or the lives of your loved ones in the hands of these criminals.
At this point, we know at least 3 people have been taken into custody, including the truck driver who abandoned the tractor trailer there. And investigators tracing the truck's registration to a home in San Antonio and detaining 2 more men from Mexico.
Oh, so that shit was registered too.
On weapons charges. Now, the local sheriff that you saw in that soundbite there, he is calling on President Biden to go ahead and ask for.
You and Biden gonna do shit about that? You crazy? You calling out Biden for this?
Resources to deal with human smuggling, calling this a
bro, have you seen what's going on?
Humanitarian crisis. And this is actually turning into a political debate on social media, on Twitter. President Biden here tweeting that yesterday's loss of life in San Antonio is horrifying. My prayers are with the family and the lost lives. They're saying my administration will continue to do everything possible to stop criminal smugglers from exploiting migrants. Well, Governor Abbott here tweeted back saying these deaths are on Biden. They are a result of his deadly open border policies. They show the deadly consequences of his refusal to enforce the law. A lot to learn here. Still a very big political debate happening on Twitter.
That's a shame. Thank you so much for the super chat. Says there was a SCOTUS case specifically about sacrificing chickens for religious purposes in Florida. I can't remember what it said. Yeah, I'm not surprised if they could probably pull something off with that. Let me see. Hold on. I can do the full screen now. Okay. Gangster. So the alleged driver of a truck packed with migrants who died in a sweltering Texas heat this week could face death penalty for his role in one of the deadliest human trafficking incidents in U.S. history. On Wednesday, as a total number of fatalities in the case. Oh, you're right. Somebody in the chat just said that. 53. Let's see if I can scroll up real quick just to give the. I'm sorry, I lost it, but somebody did say 53. Thank you for that. The updated numbers. Federal prosecutors charged 45-year-old Homero Zamorano Jr. with immigrant smuggling resulting in death. Federal prosecutors also charged Christian Martinez, 28 years old, with conspiracy to transport undocumented immigrants resulting in death. He could too face the death penalty if convicted. Cell phone records allegedly show that he and Zamorano communicated about the smuggling attempt. The rig was discovered Monday evening near a stretch of railroad tracks in an industrial zone of San Antonio after a worker heard a cry for help. So the truck, I know Jazz asked earlier whether it was moving or not. It seems like they just found it next to these train tracks. When first responders arrived, they discovered multiple individuals, some still inside the tractor trailer. some on the ground and nearby brush, many of them deceased and some of them incapacitated. According to the statement from the U.S. Attorney's Office, it said 48 people were declared dead at the scene, while an additional 5 would later perish in the hospitals. And so they found this guy hiding in the brush. A U.S. official who spoke on condition of anonymity said the suspect, a U.S. citizen, at first pretended to be a migrant and appeared to be under the influence of narcotics. He was taken to the hospital, so they took care of him and helped him out. Surveillance video showed Zamorano driving the tractor trailer through the immigration checkpoint near the Texas border of city of Laredo. Earlier Monday, Zamorano matched the individual from the surveillance footage and was wearing the same clothing. This is long as fuck. I'm gonna read all this shit. It's too late for all this shit. Well, let me skim it a little bit. Let's skim it. So there's no sign of water or working air conditioning in the truck, even as temperatures in San Antonio on Monday hovered around 100 degrees. Law enforcement officials have not clarified why the truck stopped in San Antonio, although some have speculated it may have had mechanical problems. So this guy has a lengthy criminal history. He was last in prison for about 15 months from 2016 to 2017 for jumping bail and failing to appear in court. Not a surprise at all. Before that, he nearly served 3 years for a residential burglary beginning in 2000. His sister, Tomasita Medina, says Zamorano is the eldest of 3 siblings, raised in the border of Brownsville, 280 miles from San Antonio. At the age of 14, whom relatives call Homer, got involved with drugs and then dropped out of school around 6th grade. I don't know. So that's that story. Some jacked up guy. Hearts Wild canceled. Yeah, he probably just doing it for money. You know, getting paid. All right, so I guess we're gonna, let me see. I'm waiting for it to come back. It's not working. This shit is whack. You got Comcast, Silvio? Let me see. You got Comcast. All right, I guess we're gonna have to move to the sex thing that I found. I don't even know how much of this I can play. I don't care if they claim the video. Let them take the video. Trump supporters. Hey. It's late night. He does have Comcast. Oh, shit. All right, so I'm going to play this thing. Yeah. All right, so this is the secret hotel sex parties of the mega rich. Actually, I want to put this on a smaller screen. Maybe I should do it like that. I think I should play it really small, and we'll see what happens. I thought it was kind of interesting. I listened to like 1 minute of this, and I'm like, oh, shit. And I really wanted Silvio's reaction to this while he's smoking, but unfortunately, Comcast got him, so.
The hotel industry is a wild experience that helps you understand how disconnected the wildly wealthy are. I've seen the darker side of humanity, suicides, murders, spousal abuse, human trafficking. That shit stays with you for a long time. One weekend, a large group of around 60-ish people, they wanted to purchase out the entire hotel so they could just turn it into a giant orgy. The cost of that property was upwards of $250,000 for 2 nights at a time. That says you've got money to spend. They left a nightmare room. Blood, feces, semen.
Whoa, hold up. What the fuck?
Money to spend, $150,000 for 2 nights at a time. That says you've got money to spend. They left a nightmare room. Blood, feces, semen stains. One of my bellboys came up and was like, I've got a black light, I'm curious. He turned it on, and I remember we looked down and saw the stains. We looked to the sides and saw them on the wall. At one point in the bathroom, we looked up and saw them all on the ceiling, and we were just like, how do you do this? This is not human. Were you on the ceiling?
The secret life of the rich and famous. This is what money gets you.
I worked as an operations manager for around 10 plus years. I've worked in hotels where the average daily rate is anywhere from like $99 and then all the way up to boutique properties where the average cost is around $1,400 per night. In general, the higher up that price value, the more common it is to be treated like you're less than human. The people who are coming to visit you, famous pop stars and Russian oligarchs, they have a private plane that they get in a private vehicle.
The Russians canceled.
With all tinted blackout windows. Sometimes they have security squads. They'll snap their fingers at them. Very large sense of entitlement where if they approach the desk, they are the only thing that exists to you in that moment.
I remember I one time went out to eat with somebody and they were kind of like that, like a little kind of bougie, a little bit, kind of like, I don't know if they snapped their fingers to the waitress. I feel like they did. But like from across the room, like, hey, oh, hey! Like kind of like, I was kind of like, you know, kind of a little bit of a put off for me.
And that's what they came to expect from that level of entering a luxury hotel. Most people who visit boutique hotels are not coming for business. They're there for pleasure. There was a group of fabulously wealthy individuals. You can definitely get a sense of how much wealth they actually have when they're talking about things like buying a fleet of Boeings in the lobby casually. They would buy out this entire property. They were spending as much as a luxury wedding. And it was basically a giant swingers orgy. You'd have people having sex in the pool, people laying on our wine bars naked, a couple having sex on a balcony in plain view. So you're looking up at it, quite an angle. And every single room would have a different theme and a safe word posted outside of the door. The one that stands out to me was there's a mermaid-themed room. It was actually kind of impressive, the details they went, so it was very like under the sea vibe. There was the Wild West room. There was the straight-up BDSM room. One couple we had to talk to, while they were naked, they would purposely wait to start having sex until housekeeping wanted to clean the room. They wanted somebody to watch. The day after they had all departed, I got a call from housekeeping saying that one of the showers was busted, and I go take a look at it, and they had hacksawed off the actual shower piece, the shower head, and attached a 4-foot-long anal probe hose to it, with multiple settings on the other end. And that was as disgusting as you can imagine. After all of the drama and mental scarring that we put up with for this orgy buyout group, probably between about 30 staff, I want to say we made $20 in tips.
Yo, the rich and famous ain't
I
paying.
found myself on more than one occasion
tipping.
getting stuck in awkward situations between husbands, their lovers, and then the actual wife. The worst case scenario was husband and wife shared credit cards naturally, and she started seeing the hotel show up on the books, and she stormed in and like slammed bank statements down. It's like, I know my husband's here. You guys are lying to me. We have to just say, you know what, I'm so sorry. We don't have anyone here by this name. And meanwhile, we can literally hear them having sex upstairs. Apparently, she didn't notice the sounds were familiar to her, which might be a sad statement on their marriage, actually. The problem with working with the fabulously wealthy is that they often assume that the staff is there at their beck and call regardless of what the request is. It was really common for the high rollers to approach attractive staff members and essentially just ask them, hey, if I pay you X amount of dollars, will you meet me in my room later tonight and knock my brains out? That's a quote from someone, sadly. We had a very busty, gorgeous front desk woman at one hotel, and someone came down and offered her quite a bit of money in front of management. And at the moment, she naturally declined. I have security cameras in all the halls, and seeing that person sneak out around 2 a.m. was definitely a little suspicious. The most shocking example was an incident where the wedding was around 2 p.m.-ish that day. Come nightfall, one of our event staff slept with the wife and ended up getting caught. It turned into quite a big deal with screaming and shouting and all this stuff. He hid in a bathroom in a supply closet until the heat died down, and then he just walked into the front office and clocked out like nothing ever happened. His mom happened to be in charge of events, so she made sure he didn't get terminated. The demographics of the staffs who work at hotels are usually pretty evenly split. If you're an attractive white person who speaks English quite well, you're probably going to be reservations, front desk, something visual. If you're not of that ethnicity, just because they have an accent and that might not present well to your guests, your most likely bet is that you're going to get placed in
What's wrong with the accent?
If you're working at a decent property, you could probably get $10 to $15 an hour as a front desk host. If you're housekeeping, you're maybe getting 9 to 10.
That's it for all that crazy shit? That's all you're getting?
And it was wildly unfair. We were actually advised to handle our housekeeping teams under the concept of divide and conquer, telling them, oh, well, so-and-so's team's much better than yours. You should really try to keep up with the Mexican team.
Oh, God.
It creates that toxic environment. This prevented the entire housekeeping.
Who does that? What kind of job is that? The Mexican team, the Honduran team. Who is that for real? Or is this part? Because I know it's Vice. Like they're trying to I don't know, some sort of cancellation shit. The Mexican team's doing better today, man, versus the Asian team. You guys better pick it up.
Team from uniting together and presenting concerns. And I saw that kind of model in multiple hotels.
Divide and conquer the Mexicans.
In retrospect, I can safely say that the hours they made me work, the wild situations you'd run into, it's a miracle that I never got in a really bad car accident commuting. It slowly burns you out in a way that you can't explain until you are out of it.
Dominican
you just kind of know something's wrong and you're not happy.
What's up,
the
lady?
biggest thing that the public
Sorry, I'm
doesn't
high right now.
understand about the hotel industry is that there are wild things happening behind closed doors every single day.
Man.
So obviously, wealthy individuals are wild. Everything happens behind closed doors at hotels.
The dark side of the hotel rooms. The side you never get to see. The rich and famous. Orgies. Poop. Piss. The highlight of life. It's amazing. The horrors I've witnessed. Underground night worker. What's an underground night worker? Can we watch one more? Am I gonna get canceled? Welcome to the late night session. The Mexican team, Asian team. Do they have to wear flags too on their uniforms for the team that they're representing? No, I haven't smoked anything. I do have a device that I could, but I haven't smoked in a pretty long time. Kind of took a break from that. I wouldn't want to stream either like that because oh my God, it would be a mess. It would be a mess. I like the creepy. I'm feeling the creepy music.
Those are things that you'll see probably almost every shift. You'll see vomit, you'll see urine, you'll see people shit, you see blood, you see dog piss, you see dog shit, leftover rubbish that they vomited.
Amber Heard, leftover rubbish. Leftover rubbish they vomited in.
Then you see burger boxes that people have done a shit in. The list goes on, every disgusting thing you can think of. Most of the time, customers, you can just get them onto a train and you don't have to worry, but every now and then, a customer's a difficult case. I've seen people come.
That's true. The anonymous interviews, they could just hire somebody to do this shit too. Just put this mask on, we'll morph your voice when you know, an actor.
Through who've been stabbed with bottles, and I've seen women harassed and shouted at, as well as people fighting on platforms, pushing people, threatening to push people into the tracks. It can get pretty scary.
So I guess he works in an underground, public transportation, the dark side of public transportation. It's a custom mask.
I've been working on London Underground for 3 years. I started off as a station staff and now as a driver on one of the busiest lines on the Underground. On a normal night shift, I would start normally around 11 p.m. and then I would finish around 7 a.m. The training that you get on the Underground for starting on the stations is 5 weeks. Most of that is around the rules and procedures, dealing with evacuations, understanding how the ticketing works. You get an hour, 2 hours at most, being told how to deal with conflict. That training was designed for people who are working when there was no night tube. And actually, night tube workers deal with a lot more conflict. We're the ones who deal with often the most difficult customers.
The music.
So after the pubs or clubs is kicked out and hundreds or thousands of people are flocking through the station, those platforms can get really busy, and it's like an extension of the pub or the club, continuing onto the platform and then onto the train. One night in particular, there was a big fight right outside the station, and someone ended up getting stabbed in the back of the head with a bottle. At that point, maybe 20 or 30 people turned up into the station, people with torn shirts, some of them covered in blood. The guy who'd been stabbed was trying to get down onto the platform. Me and a couple of other people were trying to stop him from moving. There was blood being smeared all over the walls at that point. More and more people were around us shouting. None of us really knew what had happened. People were fighting with each other. People were fighting with the police. We only had 3 of us there. And
sounds like everyday life here in the U.S. The protesters.
The whole situation was really chaos. And that's on top of the fact that other people were still trying to use the station at the time. You have good nights and you have bad nights. The majority of people using the night tube are good, they just want to get home. But there's a significant minority, and on some nights it feels like almost everyone you deal with has got a problem with you, and you're their target. Some of the people we deal with...
Shit, that's life in retail. If you ever worked retail.
do seem like they're just intent on violence. People will threaten to stab you outside the station. People say they'll push you in the tracks. Most of the time it probably is just threats, but you never know if any of those threats are actually going to be carried out. I've seen my colleagues attacked. I came off a break once and saw there was a disagreement between my colleague and someone else, and I found a guy that just pinned my colleague to the side of the lift with his hands around his neck. In that moment, you feel genuinely scared and you don't know what you're going to do. When it comes to verbal abuse, a lot of it is people saying that they pay your wages, you should just help them, or you're no good at your job, you don't know what you're doing. Other people call me a fat cunt, and, you know, eventually that can come enough and demoralise you. After the kidnap and murder of Sarah Everard, there was a lot more pressure to get the night tube opened. The idea...
What is the tube? Is that what they refer to as the trains over there? Tube?
That the night tube is a haven of safety is a bit of a myth. It's probably true that night tube is safer than walking down the street, but equally, night tube is a place where assaults happen all the time, where people do get attacked. And while it's good to say that it's well lit and well staffed, that's not necessarily the reality. You might be waiting 10, 15 minutes for a tube train, and that means people waiting on platforms, falling asleep. There have been problems at some...
You guys call it tubes over there? The tube? This one's not good, though. This one's kind of like, but it's kind of funny, though.
Terminus stations or men waiting around looking for women that have been left alone on the tube or falling asleep. In almost every shift you work, someone will come up to you and say that someone's groped them or tried to attack them or said something sexually inappropriate to them. When I became a tube driver, that presented some different challenges. Now you can be responsible for maybe up to 900 people on your train. You're the only person between them and their next station.
Yeah, I can't, the music.
You get people messing about, looking like they might jump. People think that might be funny, but it's not funny to anyone that's actually experienced someone jumping in front of their train. That probably happens maybe once a month for a driver. It's unfortunately all too common. And that's obviously very distressing. There are drivers who've unfortunately hit someone with a train more than once. I know people who've really struggled with their mental health afterwards. And even after they've sought support from colleagues and from professionals, they still struggle to this day with those memories. I think when people think about working on the underground, they often tend to just think that it's well paid, but they don't think about the toll that shift work takes on you. Night work is really tiring. You're forever having to cancel things with friends, partly because you're working, but also the next day or days after, maybe you're too tired to really do anything. Over years and years, that takes its toll. It takes 15% off your overall life expectancy. And if you've done this for 30 or 40 years, there's a long list of people that everybody knows on the underground who retired. And then maybe 6 months later, they were dead.
They're dead. They're all dead.
I I think at the moment, the future looks very uncertain. There are big cuts coming. Tired, fatigued, and stressed out drivers or station staff are not going to be able to provide the service that's needed to keep you safe. Overall, for tube workers, we just want everybody to treat us with respect in the way that we'd expect that we would treat them.
Bro, the dark side of food delivery. The dark side of delivering food. The hotel I worked in here was a classy one. Had businessmen during the week, and weddings and local couples play the weekends. There, it's locally popular, not a chain. One that's family owned. So, amazing. All dead. I don't know. I feel like we probably should call it, or I could find some other weird videos. I feel like this was that Netflix show. I actually like the show, kind of. What's it called? Black Mirror, something like that. I think that was kind of dope. Some of it was just trippy, like trippy as shit, but I enjoyed watching it. I was delivering food and I didn't get tipped. My life has changed. Food delivery. The dark side. We could do this last one. Maybe one more, just short one. I don't know. If I have to take it down, I'll take it down. Oh yeah, the Ghislaine. What happened to Ghislaine? Let me throw something in the middle, and then we can watch that one. So let's do Ghislaine. What Ghislaine had to say? She was sentenced to 20 years in prison for sex crimes. Sex crimes. And I thought she had some slick shit to say to the jurors. Sylvia's still down. Trust me, I know your pain. I thought she said something slick to them. I don't know what it was. If I could find it. Let me play this video first. One of the Sylvia's requests was to look into this woman. I don't want to play 60 Minutes. I feel like 60 Minutes, the last time I tried to play this stuff with Cleo Smith, they shut down the stream. Like literally while I was streaming, they shut the video that I was playing down. So I was like, I don't even want to mess with 60 Minutes, but he wanted me to look into Anna Sorokin, the New York elite, and became a star. There's other videos, though, of her.
Here they are walking hand in hand into federal court to confront socialite and sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell as she's sentenced to 20 years behind bars.
There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
She preyed on other women. There's an unspoken code among women that you take care of each other. And she used that to manipulate us.
It actually felt very powerful to finally have a chance.
A lot of women not following that code, though. It's not a code that I would say you should live by.
To speak and have my voice on the record and say the things that I wanted to say about how her crimes had impacted myself and the people that I know and care about.
Inside the courtroom, it was a tense scene. You could see Ghislaine talking with her attorneys. Her hair had grown out. She was in shackles wearing a navy blue prison outfit. She apologized to her victims. When her victims spoke about the horrific abuse they endured, you could hear weeping in the courtroom. What did you make of her demeanor today? And also, she spoke her statement.
She stopped short of really apologizing for her role and spent most of the time talking about how bad Jeffrey Epstein was. She took the role of victim in this case, saying that he manipulated her as well.
The 60-year-old former girlfriend of the late Jeffrey Epstein was convicted of procuring a harem of underage girls for the disgraced billionaire who committed suicide in his prison cell in 2019. Prosecutors described Maxwell as a calculating, sophisticated, and dangerous criminal who preyed on vulnerable young girls and groomed them for sexual abuse. But her brother, Kevin Maxwell, said she will continue to fight to clear her name.
I love her, and I will always stand by her.
And we, the family, will be solidly behind her all the way.
Ride or die, just like the R. Kelly shit. It does not matter how many people she's abused and raped and led them to the demise. We will support her no matter what. Okay, let's do. What's else gonna do? Oh yeah, the dark side of food delivery. Have you guys ever done food delivery? I did it one time. It was horrible. When I was working at the hospital, I thought it'd be a good way to make like side money. Freaking horrible. I did it one morning. I hated it. One of the trips, like I had to get on the highway for like the small little like sandwich. I had to get on the highway, go to this place that like it was closed off. I had like security guards and I had to get past the security. Then there was like all these buildings. I had to pull up to the back of the building, like this dock loading area. Once I parked, then there was like the security guard in the loading dock area. And they're like, oh, you could leave it here. But I'm thinking, you know what? For this tip, I'm going to earn this tip. I'm going to show this person that I waited for them to personally come and hand it to them. And so I waited for the person. I give them the sandwich and they didn't tip shit. Like I think they tipped like 50 cents or $1. I don't know what it was back then. I was pissed. I said, fuck this shit. A waste of time, yo. And so the next day, because I was working graveyard, and so I was like, I'll get off in the morning. I'll try it again. I got that same order from the same lady and I canceled the shit. That was the last time I ever did delivery. Done. Never again.
I've been called
just for the birds. I can't.
I've been called a bitch. I've been called a slag. I've been asked
what's a slag and why is she wearing that for food delivery? All right, what is a slag? What is a slag? Is that British terminology? A stony waste matter separated from metals during the smelting or refining of ore. No, but so we need the slang version then. A lewd or promiscuous woman. Oh, I never heard of that before. I mean, I've heard of scallywag, but I've never heard like a slag. A slag. Get out of here, slag. Disgusted with you.
What the fuck are you? There was another woman who stayed off work for a week because she was on her period and had nowhere to go and change her tampons. When you pick up your phone and you look on Uber or Deliveroo or whatever the company is, when you're ordering that, I don't think you're thinking of the labor.
Can't you just do that when you're on your period? What does it matter if you're on your period? Or no? You could do that while you're on your period, right?
I'm not sure how people would react if they knew the real full scale of how bad it can be working for these companies. This job has broken me. I'm now left to pick up the pieces. I wouldn't suggest it to anyone.
Isn't it just dropping off food?
I'm a food delivery driver and I've been working for 2 and a bit years now. We didn't.
Yo, the creepy music too in the background. I can't. I don't do a good mimic of it, but
training. It was just a short sort of 15-minute briefing, and then I was on the road the next day, basically. I think some of my first concerns were around pay. We get paid weekly, and our pay tended to get later and later each week. And then some weeks it was like, we've got issues with payments, or they'd pay us wrong. They wouldn't pay us for certain slots that we'd done, which meant that obviously I myself had got into quite bad financial difficulty. But then also realizing that me being a lone female presenting person in a pretty shitty area, really, I didn't feel safe. You could message support and say, I feel unsafe in the area.
Oh, please.
They'll either say, basically, just do it.
They can do shit for you.
If you're on slot, if you cancel and say you don't want to do it because of a safety issue, that means you lose your minimum guarantee. It definitely leaves you sometimes do jobs that you don't feel completely safe with. So it definitely feels like, in a way, we're being punished for trying to feel safe. I think there's always going to be rude customers. You're not going to have a nice experience with them. I've had sexual comments made to me by staff members in KFC and various restaurants. A particular member of staff who works there, when I walk into the restaurant, will very loudly proclaim, "Oh, it was great last night, wasn't it, babe? I'll see you there again tonight. Can't wait for a fuck." It's a male-dominated industry and women don't belong there. I've got to a house before and it's like, "Oh, you're a girl." There's the funny kind of side of it where it's just silly offhand comments that you can brush off. And then there's the side of it where people get more aggressive
KFC.
and feel entitled to more than that takeaway. My worst experience was delivering to a house in quite a remote area. When I got there, he asked me to come inside and fuck him, grabbed me by the arm, pulled me, and I just elbowed the inside of his arm and basically pushed him off me. Got into my car, had a huge panic attack, and managed to drive back home. That traumatized me quite a lot, and that stopped me from going to that sort of area for a long time. When all the restaurants closed in lockdown 1, they were closed completely. So there was nowhere that we could go to the toilet. And then as they started to reopen, we'd asked to go to the toilet and be told, "No, you're not allowed, staff only." And we were like, "Well, we are staff." "No, you're not. You're an independent contractor." There was a woman.
I just go to my house, right? In between or something, huh? I'll just take a stop at the house real quick. I don't know.
A cyclist in London.
Maybe it's different out there though. Maybe it's different for a woman though, because I don't know.
Who averages about 50 to 100 miles on her bike every day. And she told me during the height of summer last year, she did not drink water during the day because she did not want to need to go to the toilet. She was that scared.
What does the toilet and drinking water have to do with anything? Oh, because she don't have to go pee?
Day, and she told me during the height of summer last year, she did not drink water during the day because she did not want to need to go to the toilet. She was that scared of having to urinate in public. Some of the worst stories, I think, were from couriers saying, "I've literally just had to change my tampon in the street," or "I've literally just..."
Is that savage out there? You can't even use the bathroom. I mean, I think I'd even just buy something, a small little whatever, if I had to go really bad, but I don't know.
Just had to go for a piss behind a bin because there's nowhere they won't let us in. It's
Maybe the British are like that though. They won't let you go pee in the bathroom.
completely demoralizing, and it makes you feel about this big. I think people have kind of got an idea that it's not a very nice job to work in, but I don't think they know the full extent of how severe this job can be, how it can drain you financially, drain you emotionally, drain you of your friends. It sucks the life out of you. I'm now back on all of my benefits due to the fact that I just can't afford to work for them anymore. I think these companies think that they can get away with anything, and because they've got the money behind them to throw at it. If we take away gig economy workers from the world, it stops spinning.
Oh shit, but now I'm kind of curious. The dark side of being an escort. I know we should stop, but what is this? Silvio still messaging me. It came back now. Are you there, Silvio? It came back now. Yo, if you're still out there, you want to watch this escort? I could get canceled though. I kind of don't. Well, let me not say that. Let me not say that shit. I was gonna say I don't care. Let me not say that. The dark side. I had to deliver food. It was horrible. I couldn't pee. Oh, there we go. Oh shit. Mirai. Oh yay!
I stop that shit, bro.
Bro, what happened to you, man? You
I
good?
don't know, but literally I'm just there where they're talking shit and just bleep.
Bloop. It's that Comcast shit, man. Have you been watching or no?
Yeah, I can watch it on my phone, but I can't. Like the StreamYard shit, I need my Wi-Fi. I don't know, I got that cheap shit. Yes.
No, you're good. I don't want to play this thing on a big screen. I want to. Let's see, what can I do? Damn, they don't give you really any options, huh? Let me see. I mean, I could. Yeah, I could play like this. You could be in the background, I guess.
I literally miss everything.
Bro, some of these last videos are kind of funny. The ones we were watching. Well, we watched the hotel shit, which is kind of crazy, man. Because they were talking about like these rich people going into these
I saw that
like,
one. I saw that one.
you saw it? Wasn't that crazy?
Yeah.
You got any thoughts on that? They said it was pee, feces, like all kinds of shit all over the walls and shit. Like that's what these
Yeah,
people
it
are
is.
into.
Because look, somebody told me like when you do like hard drugs, that shit make you wanna like release your fucking shit and piss everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, dude.
I guess they're addicts. You know what I'm saying? That's what addicts do. It's like a sign one of being an addict.
I guess it's like the ultimate high, like just peeing and shitting everywhere, and then everybody they're all just like rolling around and shit and piss and stuff.
All right, man, let's go get high now. Crazy.
Bro.
Damn.
Let me play this. Let's watch this video together. I wish I could play this with you on the screen, but I just want to be a little cautious and not play it too big. Let's play like this. But this one is the dark side of being an escort.
I've been escorting for 10 years on and off. I first started escorting when I was at university, and one day my friend said to me, "Oh, I know a girl and she gets loads of money for escorting." And I was only 18 at the time, and naively I thought it was just going for dinner with men. It was more of a sugar baby role I had in my head. And when I got to my first job, I soon realised that it was definitely not. Since then, obviously, there's been a lot of jobs, and I try and block them out. I can't remember all of them. I don't know how many people I've had sex with. It's probably thousands.
All right, well, let's see.
During
The dark
COVID, the
side.
hotels are actually still open secretly. Yesterday, I booked a hotel. It's basically like a brothel. Everyone does it there. In the first few months of the lockdown, I actually didn't do many meets, but luckily some old clients had managed to find me again. It didn't really stop anyone. Clients were still meeting, escorts were still booking the hotels. No one was scared of the virus. I swear, when it comes to sex, men do not give a shit. They will
She said men don't give a shit when it comes to the virus when it comes to sex.
seriously just do anything. A
The
guy was
savages.
like, "Do you want to give me COVID? Like, tell me you want to give me COVID and make me die." I was spitting on him and coughing on him.
Wow. Bro, you know some people are into that, right? Like they into like they want to catch HIV and shit. Some of them like I've heard there's people that purposely, I don't know, Jazz. I don't know why that thing was in Dutch. I heard there's people that purposely want to catch HIV, and so they'll try to find somebody, or AIDS, they'll try to find somebody to purposely have sex with them, and it's like a turn on for them or some shit.
I think that's a felony, though. I think you go to jail for that shit.
But what if you want it though voluntarily? Like whatever. It's consensual AIDS spreading or something.
You didn't do the story, right?
Anna?
Yeah.
No. Why?
Let's do it for the internet cut off or some shit.
I'm gonna finish playing this, but I don't that one video you sent me, I don't think I can play that shit unless we just play the audio in the background and we just listen, or I play the other videos that I pulled up. What made you want to pick that story? What was going on with that story? About that story? What's gonna
my nephew told me about it. He was like, "Man, this is a story, bro, about like this is like New York girl. She just like scamming dudes." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, she scammed like rich people. Like I guess she like had like a business plan or something. And she just like kept collecting money from them." And I told him, "But like, did she like have sex with them at all?" And she's like, "No, she didn't even touch him." I was like, "Damn, that
she didn't have sex with them?
Nope, that motherfucker's skilled. That's a skill." I was like, "Yo, no way, bro." He's like, "Yeah, man, that shit's crazy." I was like, "Bro, like to me, either like she was trained to do that or something happened to her. That I don't know, but that's skill. I think that's some skill, bro."
In the video you sent me, you actually watched, or you haven't watched it?
No, I only watched a little bit, man. Also, I just felt.
All right, so let's finish this and then we'll see. We'll see about Anna. All right.
And then afterwards, he's like, "Did you get tested? Have you got COVID?" And I was just like, "You fucking weirdo." I've had other weird stuff. So a big one is hard sports, and that's shitting. People eating shit, having shit on them. The weirdest one I had was a guy that wanted me to save us a week's worth of shit in the freezer and go to a domination dungeon with him, and he poured it all over himself, and then I was just standing there calling him a literal piece of shit, and he was just rubbing it all over himself, wanking.
But you did it though.
Another weird one is puking. You could be like the submissive one, giving them a blowjob and puking on them, or they could be the submissive one, and you puking on them, saying you're a piece of shit, like, I'm puking on you, look at you, you're disgusting. A lot of people do ask for bareback, which is a very scary thing because STIs are obviously prevalent in society, and you just never know. And I've actually had a few scares, and it's like, why would you ask an escort for a bareback me when you know that she could have fucked 10 guys that day? They don't give a shit. As you get older and get more,
yeah, I'm 40 years old. Almost. But you say you look so young. I was like, I'm almost 40.
boundaries, and you know, but when you're first into
Bridget,
it, you do get pressured a lot to do things that you may not be so comfortable with. Every client you see puts you at risk. When they pay the money and want a certain service, they're happy with it until after they come, and then they feel like a dickhead and they want their money back. And you never know when someone's going to have a psychotic attack. It's a risky business. One day, I got into a bad situation where I got locked in the room. There was 3 guys, they all had sex with me, and then they didn't pay me. After that situation, I ended up calling the police straight away. The guys actually got convicted, and one of them went to prison. Basically, it feels like you get raped when you have had sex under the impression that you're going to get paid, and then the guy takes the money back, and you feel like you fucking shithead. I'm not fucking you for free. I'm not doing this for fun, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning.
You're trying to hustle that shit.
I'm too scared to go to the police. You have to have like 4 layers of skin in this job. You have to have very thick skin.
Can't find love. You can't
I want you to shit on me, or I want you to force me to suck a cock. They have to go to escorts for this sort of stuff. Like the guy that comes to me to eat my shit, he's not going to ask his wife to shit so he can eat it. So a lot of them have actually come to me talking about their wife the whole time and saying, my wife's like this, my wife's like that, this is what I did, and justifying it to me. And I don't really care. I don't need justification of why you're booking me. I just want the money. But obviously they feel guilty.
I just want the money. It don't matter. I'll shit on you or save the shit or whatever. Don't care.
That's why they have to explain.
No money, no honey. That's how it goes, bro.
Everyone does this, and it gives you really trust issues. A lot of young people do it as well. You'd expect it to be people that aren't good looking, can't get girls, people that have confidence issues. It's not like that at all. Some of my biggest clients who spend on me regularly are very good looking young guys. Some of them are drug dealers, they've got a lot of money to spend, and they just want a late night fuck. They don't want to have to go through the whole calling up someone they know and all that. So
they don't have to deal with all the bullshit, so they're just gonna go pay somebody. You just go pay. I don't have to deal with all the whatever shit that comes with
they
it.
just do it for convenience.
You know what my homeboy told me?
Huh?
You know what my homeboy told me one time? Damn, I don't want to put him out there, but you know what I'm saying? That motherfucker said that he likes messing with like escorts because it's just he just horny at the moment, and then like no matter how good he fucks them, they're never gonna call him back. So it's never gonna fuck up his relationship. I was like, man, you're an idiot, man. You might end up getting some shit. You know what I'm saying? Bringing it back home. You know what I'm saying? Thinking like that.
You could.
Still, man, that shit. It's how guys think, bro. Guys be thinking some crazy shit. You girls gotta know who you dating, man. You girls be sometimes stupid too, bro. There's red flags from the beginning, and you just don't know. You gotta stay stuck with that turd. Yep. You're gonna be eating dog food instead of a bone, basically. Straight up. Yep.
You can earn so much money from literally selling your body, and if you've got a normal job and you work damn hard, you can't even get close to the figures that you see. Over the years, I've hit $1 million. I've
what?
had so much.
She got $1 million.
Designer clothes. The
Yeah,
parents
motherfucker hustle, boy.
beautiful things, and it doesn't buy happiness. I need some life-changing things to happen now, because otherwise I'm going to be stuck in a cycle and I'm 40 years old, still fucking men for money, which I do not want. It's bad enough as it is that you stoop that low in yourself. You have to be a very strong person, especially to not take drugs while doing this job, because you see a lot of shit, and also it's very depressing and lonely, and you live a lie.
So
When I
she's
was
still doing
younger,
it?
I used to be a bit more open about it, but I found very quickly that people don't want to talk to you if you are a sex worker. It's not a respected job. It is something you don't feel proud about shouting out to everyone. And sometimes I think I've got PTSD because I literally get flashbacks sometimes of just random times of different clients, and I had a goal in my head that I wouldn't be doing it past a certain age, and I really don't want to be doing it after that age because I want to have children and have a normal life. That's really all I want. But I do want to be rich.
But you do want to be rich. Damn.
Well, guess you're gonna be doing what you're doing to get rich. Does she want to change her life?
Gotta make that money. With this one, I don't want to play the video. I mean, I can play the audio and see if that's all right and see what happens.
Yeah, but
I don't want a chance to play in the video shit. The audio could be whatever too. I don't know, but it'll just have to be like us on screen, I guess. But this shit's 25 minutes.
They want me to do jumping jack shit.
Yeah, if you want to, maybe that could help. That help the audience.
The gall of Sydney conwoman Melissa Caddick was as breathtaking as it was horrifying. She swindled more than $20 million from her friends and family before disappearing. Caddick is now presumed dead. But to understand why people like her think they can commit their crimes, you need to meet Anna Sorokin. She convinced New York's rich and famous she was a German heiress about to inherit a $60 million fortune, and then used her lies to live the high life on their money. Anna copped 3 years in jail for her scamming, but remains unrepentant about what she did. She says there's nothing wrong with making it by faking it. New York City,
what you gonna do about it?
Arguably the loudmouth capital of the world, oodles of audacity and shameless self-confidence are prerequisites for success. But Anna Sorokin, who, as you're about to see, has more front than Bloomingdale's, has taken that belief to a whole different level.
I don't care what you think of me. I don't need your approval. I don't need to impress you.
There's no nice way to say it, but the petite 30-year-old Anna is a big con, whose dubious claim to fame has been her ability to dupe the rich and famous of Manhattan and not give a damn.
I have
You guys heard of this chick?
for people's stupidity.
Put a picture of her up.
Do you feel bad about some of the people that got burnt along the way?
Mel, can you put a picture of her?
People, and I'll tell you if I feel bad about
Let
them.
me see.
It's
She's kind of
not
on my
easy
screen a little bit right
interviewing
there, but
a skilled charlatan.
I
You've been
see.
described as a con
I'll see if
woman.
I get a picture.
Very
She
good
look
con artist.
Russian.
I don't see myself as
She look what?
I don't
Russian.
think you conned anybody.
Yeah, she is.
Anna's refusal
All the Russians are canceled now, so
She
to
got that fire
her
though. I
willingness
want you getting all of them.
does give an insight into the mind of the fraudster. She could even, unknowingly, help us make sense of our own cons. Melissa Caddick and Belle Gibson.
I'm not this person who is like trying to trick her way into stuff. Like I just asked them and they either said yes or no.
It was not only planned and executed by her, but it was done in a really brilliant way that you can't have just happen. I mean, you don't create a situation like that out of the blue. You have to craft it and you have to be very good.
Maria Konnikova is a best-selling author and psychologist who's intrigued by how Anna has managed to turn trickery into celebrity.
Anna arrives on the scene in New York City, and she just kind of arrives with a capital A. She knows exactly how to present herself so that she is right away going to be welcomed into New York society.
Yeah, she lived in Russia, right? So she know how to get around.
Huh?
She lived in Russia. She know how to like hustle people. Russia, rough, man.
Very simple. She pretended to be the daughter of a German billionaire about to strike it rich with an imminent inheritance. Her lie was so convincing, New York society welcomed her with open arms. In turn, she fleeced them, upmarket hotels and restaurants, even various Manhattan banks, out of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Damn.
It's like I had no idea what was going on, so just like I kind of like did things.
So you weren't that calculated?
No, I don't see myself exactly as a ladder climber. No, I was just kind of doing whatever I wanted at the time.
So you just wanted to go straight to the top?
Kind of, yes. Why waste my time? And just knowing the people who were at the top, they just, I don't know.
Sorry, knowing the people at the top.
Yeah, it's like they did not strike me as too smart or like too talented. So I felt like, why?
I wanna be rich and I want lots of money.
Anna's drive to get to the top by any means possible began unremarkably. She was born in Russia and raised in Germany in a family notable for, well, not much. Neither rich nor poor, Anna decided first class was better than middle class.
How did I find Germany? I was just confronted with the fact. I don't know. I didn't really like it. Just I dealt with it. I don't know. I guess my opinion of it is irrelevant.
But her opinion of New York was relevant. Around 2015, Anna Sorokin reinvented herself as Anna Delvey and headed to the Big Apple. Pretty soon, the con was on. An attractive, soon-to-be-rich heiress proved irresistible to the local social set. You flashed a lot of cash during this.
No, I did not actually. I barely have any cash ever. I never have like more than a couple $1,000s at most on me.
People talked about you tipping wildly.
Well, people are
tipping Uber
ridiculous.
drivers,
Yeah.
tipping concierges $100 at a time. I mean, was that part of the allure that people saw a little bit of money and they thought you had a lot more?
Well, if someone is impressed by a $100 bill, I don't know what to tell them.
One of the brilliant things she does is she does sprinkle in there that she herself is
I shit out $100.
someone that
Ain't
she
nothing.
comes from this European background. We're not quite sure where, but it's aristocratic in nature. And one of the oldest cons there is people impersonating members of aristocratic families.
Looking back, the act was outrageous, but it worked brilliantly for Anna. Maria Konnikova says she probably couldn't believe her luck.
She doesn't go for the big money right away. It's not like she surrounds herself with hedge fund moguls. She surrounds herself with cool, with the element of cool. She starts booking tables at the trendy restaurants. She starts treating people so that people can get a sense of glamour, a sense of being close to something fascinating.
It seems people made room for the intriguing new It Girl, especially after she fed them another lie. The amount of money she was about to inherit from her billionaire father, 60 million American dollars. You led them to believe that you had a trust fund with millions of dollars in it. It would be accessed when you turn 26.
How did I lead them to believe? It's like, how do I lead someone to believe how much money I have?
Are you telling me now that you never told anyone that you were an heiress?
Why would I tell them how much money I have? First of all. Second of all, it's like no one in New York cares. You cannot impress anyone with 50 million, 60 million, I don't know, maybe with $1 billion for a bid, but then like no one cares. This is what people fail to understand.
Did you have a job?
Yes, I was a CEO of my company.
As the scam progressed, Anna became even more ambitious. She announced plans for her one-woman company to build a $22 million private arts club on one of New York's expensive streets. It would be called the Anna Delvey Foundation and would be funded by local banks.
I was working on closing a lease. I was supposed to be like an art center with an exhibition space.
And that was the foundation that you tried to get the $22 million fraudulently, as it turns out.
Why you seem so amused about this?
Anna came incredibly close to getting her hands on the $22 million by posing as her own imaginary Swiss financier, a man who would email US banks to confirm her fortune and send proof of wire transfers. She also forged documents to show evidence she had a bank balance of almost 60 million euros. I mean, you sold the story and they bought it. Hook, line, and sinker.
I mean, because the story was true. It wasn't that hard. Like, I did have this project and I did have this vision, and it probably would have worked out if I did have the money. So,
But you didn't have the money. That's why the project was no good.
if I would have gotten the money from the bank.
The whole Anna Delvey Foundation, your whole business was just this house of cards. It wasn't real, Anna.
So many businesses are just a house of cards. You just don't know about it.
Anna's Arts Foundation proved to be just another fake. But before it crumbled into the dustbin of unrealized dreams, she did manage to convince a bank to give her a $100,000 overdraft. It was enough cash to set up home base at a hip New York hotel and to lure a new set of friends into her web of deceit.
In 2017, when she checked into a hotel, Anna established the I'll pay for everything dynamic because she didn't often leave the hotel, and she would ask me to come by on my way to and from work, and I would go for drinks or dinner, and she would sign everything to her hotel room. And she said, "You work harder for your money than I ever have."
Rachel Deloche Williams was Anna's next target, with the fake heiress trapping the Vanity Fair magazine photo editor with some fake generosity. She suggested Rachel accompany her on an all-expenses-paid trip to a 5-star resort in Morocco. What could possibly go wrong?
My last full day in Marrakesh, I wake up, and there are 2 managers who come into the villa and refuse to leave without a functioning credit card. Anna asked me to use my card for now. I'm also told that the final bill will be settled when we check out. I'm leaving before Anna, so I think, well, she's going to have to take care of this before she leaves.
But when Rachel arrived home, she discovered her credit card had been charged the whole bill, a whopping $62,000. It was more than a year's salary. But when she asked Anna to repay it, all she received were excuses.
She was in constant contact with.
So Anna offered her an all expenses paid trip to Morocco in 2017, but instead this woman was charged with $62,000, and she was found not guilty of defrauding Anna.
A variety of excuses before I could even ask what was going on.
For once, though, a victim, her last laugh. Rachel turned her ordeal into a best-selling book. Anna wasn't pleased.
She can say whatever she wants in her little book that no one reads. I don't know. I never like. That's none of her business.
You should small time a small little book. I don't know why I'm doing that accent because she doesn't talk like that, but
just some random girl in her 20s.
Don't give a shit about your book, your small time book.
She's like,
Amazon
anyone
book.
who knows me doesn't believe any of that stuff. She's
Well,
a
but what
photo
about-
editor at a fucking fashion magazine. Like, it's none of her business how much money I have.
It was the beginning of the end for Anna. Businesses, banks, and friends she'd scammed were starting to catch on. And one night, as she tried to leave a ritzy restaurant without paying, the police were waiting. Anna moved from boutique hotel to hellhole prison.
Rikers is a notorious prison
Rikers.
in America. You're dealing with overcrowding issues. You're dealing with lack of supervision and violence. You're dealing with safety issues. You're dealing with drugs and unruly detainees. It's not an ideal place for anyone, but it definitely was hell on earth for her.
For Anna Sorokin, who'd morphed into millionaire heiress Anna Delvey and ingratiated herself with New York's champagne set, being exposed as a fraud and then thrown in a Rikers Island prison cell was some come down. But by May 2018, that's where she was spending her days, awaiting trial on theft and grand larceny charges. Pretty tough place, Rikers, isn't it?
You could say so, yeah.
Did it affect you? Has it had long-term effects?
Of course, yeah. I never regret going there. I thought it was like an invaluable experience. I could have never created like anything like this for myself. So I did learn a lot from going there.
You don't regret going there, did you say?
No, absolutely not. I would never like want to like just cut out that experience from my system.
That shit was beneficial.
Anna had scammed hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when the local media found out about her exploits, far from being dismissed as a common thief,
Now to fake heiress.
A German con artist who passed herself off as a wealthy heiress, swindling hundreds of thousands of dollars from unsuspecting people.
Anna Delvey became an in-demand celebrity.
People who are such deep narcissists, they don't think twice about manipulating others, about taking everything from them, about stealing their identities, stealing their lives, because they deserve it. And if you deserve it, did you do anything wrong? Why, of course not.
Psychologist Maria Konnikova, who's written about con artists in her bestseller, The Confidence Game, wasn't surprised. Anna was applauded for ripping off the rich. Why do people almost admire what she's done?
I find that oftentimes people do see victims of con artists as non-existent because the stories of the con artists themselves are so clever and so fun in a way. You look at it and you think, wow, you really pulled one over on them. That's great. That's so funny. You did what? Then people just double down on the victimless crime because they say, oh, you had it coming. It's fine. It's not like she went after, the downtrodden of the world.
Do you see this whole thing as a victimless crime?
I don't see this case as a crime at all. How about that?
How can you not see it as a crime?
What was that so criminal that I've done?
The state of New York, however, was in no doubt crimes were committed and took the case to trial in 2019. But Anna, enjoying her newfound fame, turned court into a circus. She hired a celebrity stylist, created a social media buzz, and made sure all eyes were focused on what she was wearing, not what she'd done.
She's a go-getter. She has moxie. She has chutzpah. And at the end of the day, she gets things done. We prepared ourselves for the worst. We obviously hope for the best. But
for Anna's lawyer, Todd Spodek, it was the perfect strategy.
If you're on trial where a jury is going to decide whether you go to state prison or not, of course you're going to care how you look, just like anyone would in that situation.
A lot of people interpreted that in a bad way, didn't they?
I mean, that's their problem. They said all kinds of things about me. It should not come as a surprise because my whole background is in art and fashion. Is that really so surprising? I care about clothes. At the time when I went to trial, I was in jail for about 19 months, something like that. And then that's the only thing I could have. I couldn't even have like any makeup or hair products. Clothes were the only thing you can get. You own new clothes every night that you go to trial. So I just thought that's what I was going to do. That was the only thing I had in my control.
I'm more convinced now than I was then.
But the fans, the fanfare, and even Anna's fast talking weren't enough to convince the jury.
Cheating, the stealing, and the lying, and her phony persona and lifestyle kept afloat for years. And certainly, she didn't think that people should see.
She was found guilty of larceny.
Huh?
She was crying there.
Yeah, she was crying, showing emotion, man.
So then what happened to her having tough?
Tinder Swindler. Didn't we watch that? Were you there when we watched Tinder Swindler?
Who's that?
The guy. That's the guy that was a scammer too, right?
Yeah, him. That guy. I was about to say that guy is like her. So now when a girl does it, it's turn the tables. You know, it's girls turn now.
Should we keep going? It's almost done. Or you want to call it?
I'm damn tired, man.
Tired, I can tell, man. Yo lo veo. Okay.
I'm like rocking. Going to sleep.
Yeah.
Man.
It's kind of interesting, man. It's kind of interesting. Savage lady. She don't give a shit.
Oh, no, she don't care.
She don't give a shit, bro. Yeah.
Tables are turning, man. You guys can't get mad, bro. But you see, she ain't slept with them.
I guess not.
That's like some slick shit, man. Like, I don't know. It's game. Women got game too.
Next level shit. All right, my dude, man. Well, have a good night, bro.
All right, doggy. Have a good night too, man. My bad, bro. The fucking internet, man.
Yeah, you're good. You're good. I know Comcast, man.
Okay, man. Got it, bro.
All right.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah. The reality of LA. Strippers, lingerie, and sugar daddies. What could possibly be the horrors of being a Facebook moderator? What could be so bad about that?
I was basically just come in, find out what my target is for the day, press the button, just go, and the first piece of content, boom, it's just there on the screen in front of you. You take a look, you make a decision, you press a couple of buttons, it goes away, and the next one loads, and the next one, and the next one. And you are seeing dead bodies and murders, or people celebrating having killed somebody, dogs being barbecued alive.
Oh, shit.
And you are seeing these images. It took me a long time to understand how much this stuff had affected me. I never even believed in PTSD. I thought it was just people being useless.
Well, I wasn't thinking about that. I guess maybe he brings up some points. All the crazy videos that pop up on live and like all those murders that happened. The one guy that I thought killed his wife. I forgot some story, but there's so many stories like that. But he did that like on a Facebook live stream. So I guess these people have to come in and like shut it down or clean it up.
And it's been very hard for me to find these really difficult emotional reactions when I talk about this stuff. And I've had to be through therapy and take a lot of time just working on myself to get through this.
The dark side. No problem, Cindy. I appreciate you guys.
I used to work for Facebook,
know.
and my job was to spend 8 hours a day looking at all the worst things that people post online so that you don't have to see it. Mark Zuckerberg had just announced he wanted to hire thousands and thousands more people to do this work. And I think they just needed bums on seats. So I was snapped up.
I think
they
so,
did
Shay.
ask me, you do understand that maybe occasionally you might see something that's a bit disturbing. And they ask if you're okay with that. But you don't have any experiential understanding of what that means. It's really difficult to quantify how much of it was of a particular type or how extreme it was. You would be able to quantify this, but these numbers are not available. Facebook have them, but as an employee, you're not entitled to find out what kind of harmful material you've been exposed to. I'm going to guess it's between 5 and 10% of what you see every day is potentially traumatizing. I can remember the first one that just was like a wow moment, and that was when we first started. I got this one day, and it's a super close-up shot of a man.
It is the Cleveland guy. I think this is the one, yeah. That was pretty wild. Was it Cleveland? A Maryland man gunned down his former girlfriend in Baltimore and murdered his ex-wife. And then murdered his ex-wife and confessed to the killings on Facebook Live. I think that's the one I was referring to. That's just crazy.
Just jerking off. But I didn't want to reach forward, put my hand into that space to press the buttons to delete it. And eventually one of the girls did it. And then she picked up, there was a packet of wet wipes on another desk for cleaning the desk. And she cleaned all...
Hold on. I got to hear this again. What?
Shot. First started, I got this one day, and it's a super close-up shot of a man just jerking off. But I didn't want to reach forward, put my hand into that space to press the buttons to delete it. And eventually one of the girls did it. And then she picked up, there was a packet of wet wipes on another desk for cleaning the desk. And she cleaned all the desk, the keyboard, and her own hands before she went back to her desk. Thinking about that later, I realized that we really do feel like touched by what you see. And then a couple of weeks later, one of my colleagues got his first self-harming incident where somebody is cutting their wrist and seemed to be in imminent danger of committing suicide. We just heard this like shouting, this guy just shouting like, fuck, what do I do? I've got a suicide, what do I do? And he was in a complete panic because there's a life at risk right in front of him, right there and then. And your job is to protect people. Well, the guidelines are not guidelines. They're very, very strict, very precisely written rules. We've got definitions of harm versus injury versus violence. We've got clear definitions of what is hate speech and what isn't hate speech. Your head is swimming with all of these issues and things that you have to consider every time that you're confronted with this stuff. I think it would be easier to deal with the images if you weren't having to think about them so deeply. I worked the evening shift, so I would start at 6 p.m., finish at 2 o'clock in the morning. But then you would often wake up 3-4 hours later, you'd suddenly sit up in bed, remembering a decision that you've made and realizing that you've made a mistake. Like, I've missed a nipple. You remember some image that you'd seen and you suddenly realize that there was a naked girl on one side or an ISIS flag in the background. So now it should have been deleted under the terrorism policy. So you're obviously replaying this stuff in your head unconsciously. while you're asleep, but then you're not allowed to talk about your work with anybody. We've all signed non-disclosure
Ooh.
agreements.
They have to sign NDAs, which I guess makes sense. But damn, you're not allowed to say shit.
The Facebook omerta, we've all been told again and again, don't ever tell anybody what your job is. There was a wellness team on site, and they were responsible for resilience training and mental health issues, but they're not trained psychotherapists, psychologists. They're not mental health professionals. So you're at work and you get an email coming around saying, hey, we're having finger painting in the canteen this evening. I'm here to save the world. I'm looking at war crimes and child abuse. I haven't got time to go and go finger painting. So it was window dressing. The supports that were there were totally inadequate. For me, there was a creeping awareness and a loss of faith, a lot of hope. And it's just become this mindless drudgery where you've desensitized yourself from what you're seeing on the screen in front of you. But when I left, I was just relieved. And then I got a phone call from a journalist. Somebody had given them my number, and she wanted to talk to me off the record like this about the job. And she asked me these questions that you've been asking me about the content, the stuff that you see. And it was the first time I had addressed that I'd faced it. And it completely overwhelmed me. And I broke down and cried in a coffee shop. I was lost. I just didn't know what the fuck I was doing, what was going on. I was totally bewildered. You know, as I started to get my head around it and talk to specialists and doctors and people, I realized that this job had knocked me on my arse and I hadn't even realized it. Facebook denies that anybody could ever get PTSD. Nobody has been harmed. That's very explicit. And then there was a recording. Somebody actually taped what Mark Zuckerberg was saying in an internal meeting with employees last year. And Mark Zuckerberg said it's a little bit overdramatic. He just totally just dismissed all of the criticisms that have been made. It's denial. They don't want to know what's going on, and they'll say the right things. They say things that sound good, but they don't fucking care. And Mark Zuckerberg, I don't care what he's been told by other people. These stories have been repeated enough times now that he needs to go down onto the shop floor and see how people work day in, day out, see what's happening, and talk to people who've been harmed, and embrace the fact that he's got a problem he needs to solve.
In 2020, Facebook settled a class action lawsuit mounted by content moderators. Oh shit, United States. While Facebook denied unlawful conduct, they provided monetary compensation to the alleged victims. Damn. The dark side of Facebook. I have to give these guys credit. It sounds like it's a pretty shitty, possibly traumatic job, and promised to use technology to limit workers' exposure to graphic materials and to retain mental health professionals familiar with PTSD for its employees. So maybe they need moderators for the moderators. You have to have moderators that moderate the content before it gets to the other moderators or something. Or an AI system that, I don't know, before it gets to the moderators. The dark side. Could you handle it? Could you do it? I should go to sleep now. This was interesting. I don't know. A weird thing that went down tonight. The dark side. The ex-banker on cocaine binges and 600K bonuses. Sexually abused as a male model. Wow. There's some interesting stuff on there. The dark side of Vic and Mel. I couldn't even begin to put that on here. There's kind of something like that on the members thing. I haven't posted anything members in a long time. I need to post something. But yeah, I'm gonna call it. You might have to rewind. I'm gonna call it a night for tonight because I gotta be up early. Find something funny. There is nothing funny. Dark side. Let me not even do it. I was about to type in Reddit. I'm not gonna. Reddit never ends in a good thing for me. Cocaine binges. The secret confessions of a serial cheater. Pregnant doc telling the truth about COVID. Yeah, I mess with that. I'm gonna have a good night, man. I'm gonna get some rest. Thank you guys so much for joining. Just casual, laid back stream. But yeah, hit like on the way out. Thank you. Have a good night. Peace. Adios. Love you guys. Bye. Bye. There's no police chase. If there's a police chase that comes up, if I'm awake, I'll do it. That'd be nice if there's a police chase. Let me double check real quick. No, I don't think no police chase. But yeah, that's it. Good night.